Hello and welcome, all friends and devotees of yoga and Buddhist meditations, Buddhism. Today is June the 16th, 2019. June the 16th, 2019. It's Sunday today. Happy Sunday, folks. Get your pen and papers ready, always. When you're in attendance of my teachings, I want you to always be ready. Pen, paper, so that you can pick points of wisdom from these discourses, points of wisdom from this forum, points of wisdom from this seminar. Okay. These teachings are the teachings of Master Singyung, Venerable Master Singyung. He is one of the foremost teachers of Buddhism of our time, still alive today, above 90. Master Singyung started the Fo Guangshan Buddhist Foundation, one of the largest Buddhist foundations of our time. Okay, this foundation has built universities all over the world, built 200 temples all over the world, thousands of monks and nuns, doing great work in Buddhism. Master Singyung is I think he's the foremost teacher of humanistic Buddhism alive today. We are very fortunate to have him as a contemporary, a contemporary teacher of Buddhism. And I feel very proud and very fortunate that I was able to see a Buddha of that caliber to have learned Buddhism under his authority. That is, through his schools, through the Fo Guangshan Buddha temples. Okay, and to have learned these is just an incredible blessing for any person who you feel so. I feel so happy and so fortunate to have been this exposed to Buddhism, to have had such great personalities to learn from, to see virtue radianting, see sunshine in their faces, and to be able to learn from them. It's such a joy. It's such a joy. It leaves you with such confidence, such discipline transmitted. It's power, it's happiness, it's joy. It's more than you can really talk about or discuss. And so you, my students, also trying to learn from me, you should also feel very happy to have this kind of Buddha in our lifetime today, just like Dalai Lama. Okay. Great Buddhists. Okay. So we feel very fortunate that we have this kind of giant teachers. I have not known any human being greater than Master Singyung. He's the greatest person I've known in my life. Okay. These are the teachings of Master Singyung. Students, I told you, you're going to need pen and paper to write down some points of wisdom you're going to pick from these teachings. Many people tend to seek help outside of themselves. Depending on others for assistance, they make demands on everyone, relatives, friends, and society. When a person relies completely on the support of others, he or she may become short on inner strength and may lose the ability to continue on with life once the external support is withdrawn. It is too precarious to always count on others. Therefore, we all must learn to depend on ourselves. We all must learn to depend on ourselves, self-dependence. The most reliable friend of all is ourselves. That's why you must depend on yourself. Okay? You are your most reliable friend. Write it down, folks. Write down these instructions. Okay? Yeah, great words of wisdom. You want to remember them. You don't want to forget these things. You want to contemplate on them. You want to get your mind to work and digest wisdom. This wisdom I'm teaching you right now. So important. What skills do we need in order to rely on ourselves? In other words, how do we establish self-fulfillment? 1. These are the golden ones, the golden keys that you need. 1. We must affirm ourselves. Listen carefully. Write that down. We must affirm ourselves. If we cannot even affirm our own moral values, knowledge, ability, motivation, and compassion, then how can we expect others to grant us their trust and approval? You must affirm yourself. Okay? We must affirm ourselves. 2, we must respect ourselves. We must respect ourselves. Do the right things, be on the right side, and carry yourself with dignity and grace. We must respect ourselves. Grandmaster Singyong writes, the second golden key. When we do not respect ourselves, we lack dignity. A person must first have self-respect before he or she can gain it from others. To earn the respect of others, our speech should be meaningful and our actions should be beneficial to others. The third one, 3, the third golden key. We must be at ease with ourselves. We must be at ease with ourselves. Sometimes we become agitated because of a minor comment or a perceived slight from others. A well-known Buddhist story, blown across the river by a stir of air, tells of such an incident involving Su Dongpo, one of the 8 famous poets of the Tang and Song dynasties. Su Dongpo thought he had mastered meditation to the point where he would no longer be influenced by others. Su never imagined that one subtle comment from Chan Master Foyin would send him rushing across the river in anger. Likewise, we should all learn to be at ease with ourselves and not be easily irritated by others. 4. Fourth golden key. We must be happy and peaceful with ourselves. We must be happy and peaceful with ourselves. Okay? Write these things down. So I'm telling you, write them down so that, our minds are so weak. Our minds are so forgetful. We think we know all things, but we don't. You have to be attentive to detail. These things are going to be planted in your mind. They're going to grow into trees and bring you beauty and happiness that you seek. So write down when you hear golden instructions, valuable instructions in wisdom, write them down. The human mind is so forgetful. You don't want to be a victim of forgetfulness. Forgetfulness rob you of wisdom. Okay? Write down valuable things and do not forget valuable instructions. So the fourth golden key, we must be happy and peaceful with ourselves. I am happy and peaceful with myself. So you also must be happy and peaceful with yourself. We frequently, Master Singyong expands, okay? I've given you the key, okay, the basic. We must be happy and peaceful with ourselves. Now I'm going to go into the analysis. We frequently base our happiness on sensory amusements or on receiving things from others. Then, when these things are absent, we have very little sense of inner joy and may even believe that life is meaningless. Okay? However, if we can be like chant masters who are full of inner joy, even though they keep their eyes closed and refrain from seeing and hearing during meditation, then we too can find happiness. We too can find happiness and serenity. Such peace and Dharma joy generated from within is the ultimate way to nurture our lives. So you are better off writing down. Those of you who are good at shorthand, you'll benefit most from my class, from my lectures. Okay? Because the person who has been writing down the points I've been making since is the person who is going to get the most of this. If you just listen, you may be missing one or two things, but if you write them down, when we finish this class online, you can then go back, take a seat, and practice what the Buddha asks all Buddhists to practice: meditation. Reflect and meditate. Reflect and meditate. At the end of all these teachings, you must go back, reflect and meditate. How do you reflect and meditate when you've not written anything down? If you cannot remember what I said, how can you reflect and meditate? Reflect and meditate on what? Okay? These are Master Singyung's teachings. Okay, you have to be able to go back and reflect and meditate on the points of wisdom that was made during this lecture. Right? You should be able to take it back and what did this teacher say? What was Christopher Aburime talking about? What does Master Singyung say? What does Buddha say? So all these things you should be able to take note. Then you go back and you reflect and you meditate and your mind is developing along the line. You now have something to say based on what you've studied, based on what you heard Christopher Aburime say, based on what you heard Master Singyung say, based on what the Buddha said. See, you've listened. You are now qualified to teach. You've listened, you've taken notes, you've studied, gone back to reflect and meditate, and you'll be qualified to instruct wisdom and to apply wisdom to your own life as well. That's the secret. Easy, right? You must reflect and meditate, okay, on what you have studied. Okay. Therefore, again, Master Singyung is doing what I say he always does, which is what Buddha does. Enlightened people do this. At the end of all said and done, he's going to summarize. What have we been saying for the past 30 minutes? He summarizes. Okay? Therefore, to rely on oneself, one must do the following. 1, we must affirm ourselves. 2, we must respect ourselves. 3, we must be at ease with ourselves. 4, we must be happy and peaceful with ourselves. It's summarized. It's up to you to go and reflect and meditate on these things. Namo Amitofo.